The Morning Brew Podcast with Jaffe and Razor, sponsored by Berkshire Bank Home Lending. Where you borrow matters. And we welcome you back, since it's been a while, to Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Summer edition. It is summer, finally, for everybody. Although children still have 2 or 3 more days of school here in the Northeast, and then they're out. And then it is officially summertime. Razor, you've been a busy man. Well, at least it looks like you've been busy. Doing a few other shows, doing some radio, doing some other podcasts. What else has been going on?
Yeah, we're getting through. My kids are done, so we're all done.
When did they finish?
They finished on Thursday afternoon. So somehow you got an extra snow day or 2 out of us.
Jesus
somehow.
Christ.
Yeah. So we're fortunate. Well, somewhat fortunate. Although just one day of summer is already wishing school started. In a month because they're already driving us crazy. But yeah, doing a little serious network NHL. So that's made me keep watching and keep me kind of focused on what was going on a little bit. But again, those couple hours and all at home pales in comparison to the miles that you put on the frequent flyer card the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, last 2 were good. Although Vegas and Florida, there's only 5 games. It was if it got into the 6-7, then you're like, holy shit. Then the travel would have been nutso. But we got through. Wasn't a great final. It wasn't.
No.
It was a great result in the sense of I have a lot of respect for what Florida was able to do when all said and done. They brought it together when need be, right? They are playing through a ton of injuries, a ton of situations, but Vegas was hands down the better team. By the way, Vegas was the better team even if Florida was healthy, but I do think it would have been a longer series. I mean, I think it's easy to sit here and say.
Yeah, you would have expected Florida to get one more win somewhere and turn it into a 6-game series. And then that 6 is so much more interesting than 5.
Right.
Especially in the Stanley Cup Finals. 5 feels like a sweep, and it was, and again, the games weren't close.
No.
But that's what happens, right? Every year that the team that is better usually stays more healthy too. That's just the nature of the beast, and we talked about it 2 months ago, and that's why we thought the Bruins were going to be great because they were going to stay healthier because they can move everybody around. But Florida got through, and they were banged up between the break and all the injuries. They really didn't stand a chance against Vegas and what they were rolling over at the boards.
Yeah, no, they just didn't. I think the guy whose time the break affected the most was Bobrovsky, if only because you're in this unbelievable rhythm and roll, and then you get out of it a bit. But I also just think it hurt all the players on the team having to come back and re-energize, recharge. Get re-physicaled is not a term. I'm trying to think of the right word. All of a sudden you go from recovery mode to refresh, but then you're like, oh shit, I got to get hit now, or I got to hit somebody really hard again. And the mind and the body don't always react as quickly and as fluidly as you want them to. And then you get a really good, deep team like Vegas who just says, we'll take your hits. We'll take your punches, literally, not figuratively, literally. And we weren't going to respond, and then we'll be all right. But don't worry. We're going to, we'll take it to make it. And that's what they did. And I think the thing just jumped out the most to me doing that whole series was how strong the depth, but in particular the strength, physical strength of their D crew, for the Vegas D crew. And I guess maybe that's where we should go. I mean, we don't need to go over the whole series. And it is what. Congratulations to Bruce Cassidy, by the way. Awesome for him. Had a chance to see him a couple of times. Great to see Butch. Had an interview with him, by the way, on the ice after the game. He was thrilled, very classy, about everything. Deserved it. But let's start with the D crew. Is that just another, we always talk about the league's copycat league. Is that just another sign that the Bruins have got to get bigger and stronger on the back end? And I think that's, the Bruins we thought were bigger and stronger, but I don't know if they were big and strong enough, Razor. Maybe that's the comment or question that needs to be made.
Yeah, I mean, 6'3", 6'4", 6'6", 6'3", 6'2", 210, 220, 210, 212. Yeah. That's what their back end is. And same thing in Tampa. We talk about it every year, and that doesn't go away. It really doesn't go away, and they can all move and they can skate. So if you subscribe to all of that and don't think it's a luck or coincidence that the last 4 or 5 Stanley Cups have been won with guys like that, then they do have to get bigger. They have to find a way to. These guys don't grow on trees. They're really difficult to find. They're difficult to have on your team, but you have to find a way to swap one of your 5'9" or 5'11" D-man out for one of the bigger guys that can be a little heavier out on the ice.
So does that mean then that it's like a foregone conclusion that you've got to keep Derek Forbort then? Because while he's not that fast, he is 6'3", right? Maybe 6'4". Mm-hmm. I look at the smallest defender on Vegas was Alec Martinez. And I think he was 6 foot to 6.5 basically, but he was 200 something. But, the rest were all 6'2" to 6'6".
Yeah. It's big. and their penalty kills, you could see it, the time and space they took away from all the teams they played, the length, the reach they had, it made a huge difference. And it does over those 28 games that these teams play at the end of the season.
No question. Their reach was really noticeable. The way that they knocked down pucks, the way that they played Bruce's system too. They looked natural playing it. Once, I know it took them a few months to really get it, but once they did, their length as a team, but especially as a D crew, they knocked everything down and they blocked everything. They did not scramble to block shots. They positionally block shots. That's what
it hit them.
It hit them.
Yeah, it hit them. They hit them. It wasn't because they were out of position they had to block a shot. They were blocking shots because they were in position.
Always.
Big difference.
Right, big difference. You want to talk about the hurt factor. When you're diving to block shots, you expose your body. There's the hurt quotient or the potential. When you're in position, it's amazing. When you're closer to that initial shot and everything, it hits your shin pads. It's like you almost don't feel it. It's like you almost don't.
Yep.
I mean, the foot.
You're out of the zone.
The foot always, it hurts. Always. I don't care what anybody says. It always hurts to get hit in the foot, and you're lucky you don't break it. But they were sharp. I mean, that just says to me. I mean, I know the Bruins look at their core of 3: McAvoy, Lindholm, Carlo, as their core. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So Charlie, 6'1", Hampus 6'3", Carlo 6'5", maybe pushing 6'6". The good hair day. Not overly physical. McAvoy can be, but neither Lindholm nor Carlo are overly. They're more containment, but they're big. But now you got to surround them with 2 other guys for sure that are 6'2" plus that are physical and big.
Yep. Not easy.
No. You can afford to have that one guy between 5'10" and 6 foot. That's it in my opinion. So I'm curious to see what Don Sweeney and the staff do with the limited cap space too. The creativity factor is going to have to be there. We know that they have Grzelcyk. We know that they have Forbort. We know that there's Clifton, although we know he's a UFA too.
Yeah.
So that
hard to expect him
right
being cheap enough. You're right. He's just going to get money somewhere.
Right. And then, are you going to bring up a guy like Lowry? I just don't think he's you can't do that to the kid.
He's a waste. No, he's a waste.
You can't do that. I mean, do you have a guy like a Connor Carrick as a depth guy? Maybe. Anyway, to me, that was the most noticeable thing as I kept watching the series. And I did, half the series ringside watching the goaltender. So real low and watching the D zone for all 4. Well, it was Florida I covered twice and then Carolina once and Vegas. And by the way, Carolina, They still aren't physical, Razor. Holy shit, they're not physical. Like, yeah, and you know, I bought into it this year. I'm like, okay, this could be a little different for them. But when it's all said and done, they miss Svechnikov. He is a power forward. I get it. But they're still not that physical. Their back end isn't even that physical. And that's what Florida took it to them in that regard. You know?
Yeah, no, that's right. The Pesci's of the world just aren't those guys. They're
Slavin's
not
not.
the Petrangelos.
Yeah.
Slavin's not. So they're long and they move and everything else, but it's different. It's just different. And when they got and their game, right? That forecheck game that's always moving it, but you have to slow down sometimes, right, or be able to play a slower game sometimes and get in on the body and try and wear down rather than just use your speed all over the ice. And Carolina, they couldn't score.
Well, right, and they kept trying to
be able to score because they don't have anything extra. They're a team that gets pucks to the point and they put them to the net. If you don't get locks, if you don't get breaks, if you don't get to the net, if you don't get tips, you don't get screens, they can't manufacture beyond that or away from that.
Do you remember? It's a very good point, and we talked about it on the broadcast and on the NHL Network on pregames and stuff. But and you and I can talk about it here because we know Carolina so well. Carolina loves, as you said, low high, flush to the net, right? Low high, everything low high.
Yeah.
Vegas, what they did, not that they didn't use their points because they did, but they did not look for it. They looked for quick cycles out of the corner and attacking the net. And they did that so much better than Carolina did because Carolina did it without the puck. The puck was going low to high, usually to the wall, where one of the guys like a Burns or a Pesci would get it and then zip it, sling it to the net. Meanwhile, Vegas was like, no, we're not going to do that. You remember how Bruce Cassidy, when he took over for Claude, and this was, you hadn't started yet, or had you? You hadn't?
No.
But
no, not really.
Bruce talked about, he goes, I want to keep the puck closer to the net. I want to keep it closer. Not that I'm afraid or against using the point, but I want to move it to the net quicker. And so they did these little cutback, these little cycle plays that were really difficult for Florida's D to get reset at all. Meanwhile, Florida D did a really good job when it was low to high. They would tackle the Carolina Hurricanes coming to the front and box them out, and they did a great job, but they couldn't do the same thing against Vegas. That was a big difference in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's because that Vegas, it's their second option, where Carolina, it's their first option to go low to high. Like you said, Vegas wants to go to the net, and then, I can't get to the net, I'll kick it out.
Right.
Or, I didn't get to the net, it gets poked off, or I get defended, it skirts back to the point, and then they're open, and they can walk the line because they're big and athletic, and they can move their feet, and then they find the seam. So, and that's the one thing now that relates to the Bruins is they talked a lot about possession. It turned into a non-possession playoff. The teams weren't possessing the puck the same way come playoff time. Florida chipping it out, up and out.
Yep.
Don't hold on to it. Don't try and regroup. Don't hang on to it. Go and get it. Go chase it down. Vegas did that as well in different ways. They weren't trying to possess. They were trying to put pucks to the net. They're trying to get it on the secondary. They're trying to create chaos that way. And that'll be interesting to see. I'm curious if the copycat offense for the Bruins comes in that way, where they worry a little bit about how much their possession actually is and more about those random shots and those random plays that Cassidy likes. And that's what Florida did so well through the first 3 rounds.
Yeah. Florida created, and then got to the net, though. They did. They got to the net, and they, I guess they scored clutch goals at key times. But yeah, they did do that. But again, are the Bruins built for that? I don't know. I don't know, because I guess we just don't know where the Bruins are how they're going to be built yet. We still don't know about Bergeron or Krejci. I just don't feel like Krejci's coming back. I haven't. I don't. Yeah. I don't think it's. I just don't think it is happening. Bergeron, I think he's coming back. And I know we talked about it on our last show that we did together, which I don't remember exact date was, but I know it's a 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, whatever. But I still think he's coming back. But would it surprise me if he said no? No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. But I think he is.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way a little. The more these days tick off the calendar and he isn't making an announcement, the more I think he's coming back. Because I was thinking, ooh, that might be it.
At the end of the season, we both felt that way.
Yeah, I think that's it. But I expected something to be said before now. Now we're getting close to, all right, maybe he is gonna hang around for the the centennial year.
Yeah, like you know, you look at that playoff too, especially the Eastern Conference, where I believe, if I remember correctly, we did talk in the past about how I thought that the Eastern Conference might beat themselves up so much, each other up so much. Of the Western team, I thought it would be Colorado. But we thought perhaps a Western team would be able to not waltz in and make it easy. But that's kind of what Vegas did. Florida was freaking beat up to shit. I mean, they were. Mm-hmm. I mean, and if Carolina had won, Carolina would have been beat up too. I mean, it was different. But I wonder, you know, does Bergeron look at this and say, man, oh man, not only should we have been playing, but look at this. Like, I still got it in me. I can still play with these guys. Now, he didn't come back and with the back issue and he wasn't himself. We know that, Razor. We know he wasn't. But when he is himself, assuming he can stay healthy, I know he can still hang with these guys and do a great job.
Yeah, that's yes, exactly. And again, it's when they start ramping up in the summer, and does his body say he can compete all summer, and can he get himself to that level? And again, that's another reason why the longer it goes, that means he's been working out. That means he's been getting through those first few weeks in June where guys start ramping up a little bit and get on the ice and recognize that their body, okay, my body feels good, or I can work enough to keep up with these young guys in the league. And usually the guys that recognize it, it's May or the first couple weeks of June, where like, I can't do this for 3 more months and then play 82 games. I just can't. And again, that's why, you know, I feel better about it with Patrice coming back, because he would have gone through that already. Like they're ramping up pretty good at the end of June, and kind of go time.
Yeah, programs are all set. You know, trainers have been hired.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, that's right.
Off-season,
they're
you know,
on their case.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the off-season locations or gyms or whatever have been set up, and you know, everybody's ready to go. Maybe a few guys are still here because they got kids in school, but I guess most of them are pretty much done and probably getting ready. And mentally, they're into the off-season routine. Absolutely. I mean, you get knocked out first round, you got 2 weeks, right? You got 2 weeks.
Yep.
2 weeks to go get fat, drunk, in that order, or maybe not in that order, and you know, then you have an opportunity to start working your way through it.
Memorial Day comes, Victoria Day in Canada, the long weekend comes. That's the end of your gluttony essentially, and June's a big month, and then you take a few days for the July holiday, and then it's go time.
Real go time.
So we're really kind of there now. So
nothing. We're sitting and recording this on Father's Day. By the way, happy Father's Day to you and to all the fathers out there. I'll tangent for a minute. Do you have a good father's story for you in hockey between you and your dad?
No, my dad never played, so he never skated. I never saw my dad put skates on. He never coached me. He never. So in that respect, I don't have any like hockey, but he was at every practice. He drove me everywhere. Always made sure I was being the good person, being a good teammate, and showing up. So the one story that I have is just him making me go to a tryout that I didn't want to go to, and I ended up making the team, and ended up that's like a fork in my road where I can look back and say, if I hadn't made that team, my path would have been completely different. And again, it was him that came home from work early to drive me to that tryout. So that's my good dad story. But that's
how old are you?
How
old are you for that team?
That was when I was 15, 16. So playing that was going into tier 2 junior. So again, they brought like a 20-year-old kid in. I wasn't going to make the team. The kid left. My dad made me go to a tryout the next day, and then I had a spot. So that was how my dad influenced my hockey career.
What percentage of Canadians, males, from northern Canada? Now, you're not like the outskirts of North. You're not like, you're not foraging from your own food, going to, kill wolves. But, from your area, did not play hockey. Like what?
Not many.
Yeah.
Yeah, not many. And especially like even more so was my dad didn't watch hockey on TV. Like it wasn't like we sat down and watched games together. That was my mom and I. My dad, it wasn't so like that really brings the percentage down. There would have been people that didn't skate, but they knew what was going on in the NHL where my dad really didn't.
It just wasn't his interest. That's just what it was.
No. Yeah, no, it wasn't his thing. He likes cottages and boats and fishing and that kind of stuff. He's more of that.
Would you say he's a good athlete, great athlete? What kind of an athlete would you say?
He isn't he can like swing a golf club and get around, but he isn't. Again, he doesn't like practice. It's not a natural thing for him to like want to compete and be an athlete. He never really did that when he was a kid either. So
what about your mother?
So my mom loved hockey. French Canadian, so the Canadians, and that was like my granddad on her side was a huge hockey person. So it came more from that side, the passion and love of hockey.
Right, but he took it on because his son played hockey.
Correct. Yeah.
Whether I don't know if say he fell in love with it. I'm sure he did. He fell in love with you playing it or watching you play it. That's very cool. I mean, I don't want to say shocked. I'm more surprised about the no hockey whatsoever and not really being an athlete. And yet then you have a son who it reaches the pinnacle of athleticism and in his sport. It's fascinating stuff. And but that's a great little nugget story about, pushing you to go to a tryout that you didn't want to. So that's good fatherly stuff. My father at 4 years old, I cried my way off the ice at 4. He had bought me a full set of equipment. I had skated for about 2 years, year and a half. Always wanted to play hockey. Anyways, I think I may have even told this story before. I go onto the ice, and for the first half ice type thing, like learn to play, whatever, and I cry my ass off because my ankles are killing me. And, I'm just a mess, and I'm 4, maybe 4.5. And he grabs me, and my mom's looking over his shoulder, like, it's going to be okay or whatever. And he's like, turn me around. He says, get back out there. No son of mine is going to quit the first time. So I did that. I remember that from my Father's Day. The other thing he did one time, and I may have told this story too. I was 15, going on 16. I was with Chicago Young Americans. We were playing Madison, the Capitals. Kevin Dean's team, by the way. We used to play him a lot. And I went up to Madison the night before because a dear friend of mine was a couple of years older and was either a freshman or sophomore up there. I'm going to guess he was a freshman, maybe a sophomore. Anyways, and I went up there, and what does any good 15, 16-year-old do when he's partying with his 18, 19-year-old buddy? He parties when he shouldn't be. Anyways, so I get up to play the next morning, and I was awful. Like, awful. I was buckled. I was awful. I wasn't shit-faced or anything. I was just exhausted and awful, right? Yeah. And my dad was silent in the car for a few minutes, and it was the same day that the Patriots were playing the Bears in the Super Bowl when the Fridge, William Perry, Jim McMahon, all those. Anyways, Patriots got throttled, right? He finally broke the silence and he said, "Look, I'm fine doing. You want to do what you want to do. That's fine. That's fine. Do not waste my goddamn time again." Come into a game, you're going to play like that. You're going to play like shit and treat it like that. And he actually said shit. And I remember, I'm like, point was well taken. He's like, do not waste my time again. If you're going to play, act like that and play like shit like that again. And my dad was not over the top crazy. He wasn't. He knew, but here he is driving a couple hours to pick me up and all that. And that was it. So those are my paternal moments. So happy Father's Day to both of our fathers and everybody else out there. Right now, back to...
It's amazing what we remember, right?
Oh, my God.
It's those ones. It's those stories. It's not the stuff on the
No.
Ice. It's always the silence in the car ride. And it's a real lesson, too. It's a real lesson, a life lessons. It's not you didn't back check hard enough, or you should have got in on the forecheck, or you didn't have your man. It's the character issues that we all remember.
I do remember my dad. He ended up scorekeeping a lot or helping. And I was younger until I was probably about like a peewee maybe or whatever. And there was one time where he yelled at the official. Now, even I was just like, Dad, you got to hold on, man. You're going to get kicked out of here.
He had a tough day at work.
Yeah. Oh, funny. And he didn't miss. Holy shit. He didn't miss a game. If he did, it was probably 5 over 10 years. So
Yeah.
pretty cool stuff. Great to have. And it's great to be a father involved with hockey players. I know you have both boys and girls. I just have my boy playing. So it's a lot of fun. But again, happy Father's Day to everybody listening out there. Let's get back, though, to the Bruins here. No buyouts as of yet. Again, we're doing this on Sunday evening, the 18th of June. Now, this is the window where they can. Names that get popped around are, I guess Mike Riley is the most obvious one, his $3 million.
Yeah.
I mean, is it obvious, Razor, that they're just going to buy him out, you think? Is it a foregone conclusion? Or I'm no cap expert, and this is where, but I would kind of expect it, wouldn't you, if they can't, or unless they think that they're going to move one or two others and they're going to keep him around as a 6-7.
That's the only way. And even there, I don't think they can afford a $3 million 6 or 7. So it does seem inevitable to me. I don't know how they get around it. Again, even if they wanted to keep him as a 6 guy, I don't know how you keep him at $3 million. So it seems like he'll be bought out. And then they still have a ton of work to do beyond that. But no, I don't know when the last day is, but I would assume these buyouts are kind of in place. Like it's something you don't need to do it right away,
right?
Because
there's 2
you can
windows.
let everyone know it's you can let everyone know it's happening, and still wait until the last second, or wait until you absolutely have to do it.
This is not what I would call original thinking here, but I think that one of Matt Grzelcyk or Derek Forbort will be moved. And I think Connor Clifton will be gone. And I don't have any question that Dmitry Orlov will be gone.
Yep.
So that leaves you with McAvoy, Lindholm, Carlo, one of Grzelcyk, Forbort right there. That's 4. I'm assuming Zaboral, he's got 1 year left at 1.13. I'm assuming he stays, right? I mean, okay.
I think they want him to be
sure.
Good.
They'd love for that to happen.
Yeah.
So there's 5 right there. There's 5. We know you need 7 at least, and then you need a legit 8-9 if you're really going to go anywhere come playoff time. They got a lot of work to do. Has your thought process changed at all, Razor, on goaltending situation? We've talked a few times about this. You and I hit it right away after the debacle that was the Florida Panthers series, and about how Ullmark and Swayman, it can't be the same next year. That didn't mean that we said 100% they won't be back together, but it's going to be different. But we both felt that there's a good chance that one of the two won't be there. Do you still feel that same way?
I do. If not, maybe a little stronger about it in the numbers that seem to be getting thrown around, what Jeremy is going to get in arbitration or as a restricted free agent. That number is not going to be 2 million or 2.5.
No, it's going to be 3.5 plus.
Correct, Mundo, if not a 4. And you can't have both guys if that's the case. So I see one of them going. I think the Bruins recognize they can't keep both. I think that there's a lot of dominoes with the goaltenders. You have Hellebuck, he's the first. Then there's Gibson, and then it's probably the Bruins. So once those first 2 guys go over the next 10 days, I think the phone calls will heat up a little bit for the Bruins. So nothing will happen until Hellebuck's gone. But once he is, I think the Bruins are right there. I don't think they can keep both. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't think that they can from a financial, but more also just from a.
How do you roll it back? How do you rotate and do the playoff thing again? Like they're 2 number 1 guys. They're both number 1 guys.
Well, they're
thought of that,
right? And they both want to be. I think.
Yep.
As much as I think they love each other, and I do think they have a genuine friendship, a great friendship. I do think they both want to play. I don't know if they want to play 62 games, but I think 52 to 55 games is where these guys want to be.
Well, and most importantly, both of them have to play game 1 of a playoff series.
Yeah.
That's, I don't think they would be worried about it, but that's going to cause a problem game 1 of whatever playoff series they're on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we saw a bit of a rotation, but it was, again, due to injury and illness from another team in Carolina. That became a rotation, although Freddie Anderson kind of took over. It was all said and done, right?
Yep.
Vegas just everybody got injured.
They had to.
They had to. Yeah. What'd you think of Aiden Hill, by the way? What'd you think?
I mean, he had big stones. I was impressed with him coming in. I wasn't sure how it was going to look, but he was as rock solid as it gets in Dallas series, and then against Florida. I don't think they needed him in either of those series. I think
right.
It was the Darcy Kemper situation
Exactly
as much as anything else. But you win and you play like that, then I have to give him credit for it. I don't.
He's in the last year of his deal. He's a free agent.
Well, he's going to get huge money. He's going to get huge money from somewhere. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think Vegas can keep him either.
No, I don't think so either.
But again, I look at Swayman. I think the league looks at Swayman and Allmark as much better than Nathan Hill.
Yes, I think so. I think they're going to look to that system and say, man, did they play Bruce Cassidy's system beautifully? And that helped out a guy like Aiden Hill a lot too. But I was impressed by his comfortableness, his presence.
Leadership.
Yeah. He was good. I mean, yeah, but I'll tell you what, Razor, again, a little tangent here. I was so impressed with how the whole Vegas team presented themselves both on and off the ice. On the ice, they didn't fall into the victim. They didn't fall prey to Florida's shenanigans where they tried to take them out of it. And really easier said than done. They kind of just said, you can be the little brother trying to, hit big brother. We'll take the punch. Don't worry. We'll get you during the regular season, but right now we're not worried about that. Most of their players. In fact, I cannot remember one. I had one player actually who was pretty quiet. And when I did an interview with him, William Karlsson, which is ironic. Did you see the clip of him at the parade?
I saw it this afternoon.
Phenomenal.
Oh my God.
It was phenomenal.
It was so
I just
great.
need to get him.
I love the PR person trying to grab him off the stage. So great.
I know. And I guess the secret is just to get him, schnockered and then get him into an interview. But otherwise, I'm telling you, Razor, these guys, as far as interviews go, were unbelievable. I don't know if I've ever done, I'll tell you, Zach Whitecloud, again, tangent time right here, and I'll keep it really quick, but Zach Whitecloud and his listening to questions and his ability to then give you a thoughtful answer and really engaging was outstanding, Razor. Eichel was so comfortable, didn't have an edge to him. I've known Jack for a while. I'm sure that, helps, but he was unbelievable. Pietrangelo, even Mark Stone, who just these guys gave, and I say even Mark Stone, I don't know him. Sometimes his answers are shorter. He was fantastic though to deal with these guys. They have great PR department, but also they just these players, these characters, really cared about it. I was impressed. I was just impressed with how they carry themselves overall. I guess that's something that, and I think there's value to that, Razor, for a winning team.
There is value in that, and listen, we talked about the Bruins and how they conduct themselves, right? The culture that they have, and there is value to that, and it's good. You want guys that are like that to win, right? We're, at the end of the day, all the hockey guys, all the hockey people are hoping that guys and people like that win the cup.
Right. A couple of other things, and then we wrap it up here. And by the way, folks, we're probably not going to do another show again for a little while before I just forget that. We got a couple of things going on. Razor's going away, going on a Razorcation.
Vacay.
Hitting the beach, hitting the city. You're going away for what, 8, 9, 10 days? Something like that?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not going on a holiday yet. I'm going in to get, it's going to feel like one. I'm getting my hip replaced, first of probably both, but getting that done the end of June. So I'm going to miss the free agent frenzy. But I think if we can do a show a few days after that, Razor, let's try and do one. See if we can react. I'm getting my hip surgery on the 30th of June. Maybe by the 2nd, I can sit for 20 minutes. We can pop out a show. Or I can lay down. What the hell? Do it from the bed. I mean, I'm coming home right away. Do that.
We'll get you on the good drugs, and we'll really get it cooking.
Yes, that would be outstanding. But so, folks, just understand, you're not going to have one from us in the next at least 10 days because Razor's going to be gone. Now, if something crazy happens, and I'm talking mega trade and whatever, Razor, maybe I'll jump on with something. Maybe, I don't know. We'll pump, but you and I, big show, the show, and that's what this is about. This is the show. Probably not for 2 weeks minimum after this. So just
If we have to, we can do a cell phone, Wi-Fi, Twitter Live, or something random like that.
We'll figure something out. Anything else hockey-wise that you just, that you've had a chance to think about, go over? I mean, we talked about the Cup. The Bruins are still an unknown. We just don't know where they're going to be yet. We know that Don Sweeney has a ton of work to do. I don't want to get into, we've seen the coaching moves, and, I guess the only real question now, Calgary already has a new GM and coach. Toronto, I'm assuming Sheldon Keefe stays. I
guess, right? Yeah, they're not saying anything, so it's all right. It's just status quo. We don't need to make an announcement because Sheldon Keefe's here. Right. That's kind of their move.
They would kind of screw them if they didn't. Rangers make a move in their coaching staff. It took them a long time to get to the guy we all thought that they would get, but for me, I actually said, if they wanted Laviolette, wouldn't they have taken him 2 weeks ago? You know what I mean? And so I kind of backed off a bit, but in the end, they get him. That's going to be a 3-year push there. That's it, partner. Like he's there for 3 years to push his team to a cup, right? That's it. That's why they took him.
Their window's short, small. So Labby comes in and, all right, here you go.
And he has a history of bringing teams, at least in the first year especially, to that. All right, so I don't think anything else hockey-wise. Again, thrilled for Bruce Cassidy. Anything different from you on Bruce? A lot of people talked about, and I heard in Boston radio, I wasn't here, there was talk about the mistake and the stat. These are not the same.
No.
Because one does this here does not mean that. I get why they're doing it, because it's not clickbaits, but it's listeners, right? But they're not the same, for crying out loud.
No.
The Bruins.
There's no narrative there.
Yeah.
You can't even really make that story up. It works on talk radio, and that, of course, it's easy to kick the Bruins after the first round of the playoffs. But it's apples and oranges. It's two different things. It's
Have you run into any Bruins in the last 3-4 weeks that you've had a chance to have any kind of a legit convo with? You don't have to name names.
I've seen a few guys. Yeah, I've seen a couple guys.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Brad for a while, for a few hours, a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's good spirits. He's on the ice. He's getting cranked back up. His normal summer. So no insight from him, of course. It's not one of those, but he's here and skating right away, like ready to go. So disappointed, of course. Yeah. But also, all right, get ready for next season.
Well, that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
Let's end it with this. We got 2 questions. I got Mulch, and I got Mulch question, because we haven't gone over it. And then, let's start with the Mulch. Where are we at with? Because last we talked, it was before Memorial Day, right?
Yeah.
And so
I still didn't mulch. So I had reconstructive lawn surgery out the front, and that's been the big focus. It looks pretty good right now. Like, I'm cutting it. It looks good. Yeah. I had the first half of my yard all dug up, but I haven't really, it kind of involves the mulch and everything else. So I'm letting it sit a little bit more. My mulch doesn't look bad right now. Like, there's no weeds or anything. So I'm kind of hanging on. It might be a later summer mulch, if at all.
It's gonna get hot for them, what they say.
I know. And that's my concern. So I've got to, we'll see. But again, my main focus, baby, has been the lawn and the grass, and that's where I'm at with that. So okay. So no mulch issues, no delivery issues, none of that right yet.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why you haven't had an update from me either, I guess.
The reconstructive surgery, as you put it, the lawn care, that was probably a solid investment. So you're saving on doing the mulch right now,
Yes.
But
that's part of it too. There's only a certain budget that I can put together for the outdoor that doesn't have to be matched for my wife's. It's kind of like the the IR, what is it? The Roth IRA that I have to match with whatever's going on with the lawn. It has to be done, whether it's in the department store or in the furniture store.
Okay. All right.
That's no fun.
All right. No, I hear you. Well, that's good. I'll have to come see it one day. I haven't seen it. The other question I have is what do we got going with the mustache right now? Is this a I just haven't shaved and it's just like I've got the gray beard. I actually shaved at the beginning of a little in the third, but in the cup I shaved. I don't know why. I just felt like maybe it was where I was, the heat and all that. But you've got the duster going. Now you do have the chin as well, but the duster is really, now I know we're just an audio platform right now, but it's just different for you. And the mustache it's very Movember. I will say that.
So the issue I have is my mustache grows in much, much thicker. Yeah. And for whatever reason, I have no gray hair in my mustache, but it's all in my chin. So my chin is gray and thin around the sides and everywhere else. So it's not a mustache. It's just a matter of not shaving and I literally just got a haircut because we're going away. I hadn't got a haircut since the first round. So it was just kind of everywhere because I really enjoyed the fact that I didn't have to go on TV and present myself. So I saving $25-$30, not cutting my hair. So that was that and not shaving. So no, it's my mustache is only there because it grows in better than everything else or much, much better.
So where you're at,
my friends have always made fun of me for it. It's always been the case.
Where you're at right now, what are we talking like time-wise from your last shave? Like when?
This would have been, this is like a week. This is like a week, so it's not bad. But this is as much as it gets. Like there's not much more. Now it kind of gets scraggly. So again, I have to shave before I go on vacation. Okay.
Well, I'm all gray.
No beard. And you're just letting it rip?
Well, no, I've been home now since, when did I get home from Vegas? Jesus, what day? Today's Sunday. I got home Wednesday. I think I haven't shaved for a week as well. I think it's a week. And it grows in all gray right now. It's demoralizing. It is. It's so freaking demoralizing. It just sucks, but shit happens.
Among everything else.
What are you going to do? All right. Well, that'll wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Again, folks, we're happy just to sit down and do this. We haven't talked in a while. It's good to catch up for the two of us and good to connect with you guys as well. Thanks again to Berkshire Bank. I forgot to mention them at the start. Sorry, Berkshire Bank. We appreciate the lead sponsorship. And a couple of other companies are coming along too, so we'll bring them on for the next one. But Razor, you and I we'll regroup another time. We'll at some point. But I don't think it's going to happen at least for the next 10 days, maybe a little bit longer. So if something crazy, I'm not talking small crazy. Like to me, a buyout isn't crazy. Don't go there. I'm talking a mega trade. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll do something somehow, whatever. We'll get a little product out there. But that's going to wrap it up. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Have a wonderful trip. Enjoy a city. Enjoy the beach and enjoy the kids. Hopefully they don't drive you crazy. I'm sure they will a little bit, but that'll happen. But that's all right. Yeah. And get a little R&R, and then you're back. And then are you on the ice? By the way, are you on the ice when you're back or no?
Yeah, in and out. Yeah, we'll be. But yes, once I'm actually back in Boston, we'll go to Canada a little bit. I'll go on the ice up there in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to pay it forward up there. So yeah, on the ice kind of after this. So it's like no hockey for the next 10 days for me, and then it'll feel back to normal.
And a reminder, folks, too, check out the adult camp that I put together for the last, I don't know how many years, and Razor is so kind enough to show up for a couple of days per.
Can't wait.
August 21st through 24th, just 4 days this year, not 5. August 21st to 24th at Warrior Ice Arena. Go to Warrior Ice Arena.
10 less heart attacks for everybody.
Yes.
Sorry to jump in on your promo, but 10 less heart attacks with that less day.
True.
That's you should definitely sign up, folks, because that is a game changer.
Yes, and I will be shuffling around on the ice. I don't think I will be power skating myself, but I should be good enough by then to put the skates on. But we have a lot of other guys that are incredibly well qualified. I can still yell. But Razor's there. I mean, last year we had Razor, and then when Razor couldn't make, we had Mike Morrison come out. We had a lot of NHL guys, coaches. Swayman was there. Yeah, we're going to have all that again. So warrioricearena.com. Check it out. It's the adult camp, Billy Jaffe Adult Camp at Warrior Ice Arena. All right, Razor, have a great trip, a great time. Everybody be well. And it's summertime. So that means when you're sitting in the morning and enjoying your coffee, it's okay to have another.